Welcome everybody. My name's Rae Lang and I'm the Director of Teaching and Learning at Woodland Pre-Schools. Today I'd like to talk to you about our unaccompanied classes, our stepping stones, our preschool and our prep for primary. All our unaccompanied classes offer a play-based inquiry approach. Please let me explain about each of our different programs. With Smart Steps, the physical development helps prepare them for primary schooling. For example, one of the activities we do with the children is throwing scarves in the air, a very fun activity. And then the children are looking at the scarves and they're tracking it as it gently falls down to the ground. What this does is develop the eye muscles. And our eye muscles are used when we're reading and we're writing. We call this eye tracking. Another activity we do with Smart Steps is balance. When the children are practicing balancing, they are engaging their core muscles. The core muscles are really important when the child is sitting or when the child is standing. And when we translate that into a 6-year-old, it means that they can sit at the table or their desk or sitting on the floor, and so that they can actually concentrate on their writing and their story. Another emphasis that we place on our Stepping Stones program is language development. For us, language is really important, and we try and provide a language-rich environment whereby our teachers are talking to our children all the time, and the children are hearing stories from each other. They are hearing different sounds, environmental sounds, and other languages. In our Stepping Stones program, they have a full-time Mandarin teaching assistant who works alongside the English teacher. And this way, we have environmental Mandarin happening, and the children become used to hearing the sounds and the language of Mandarin as well as English. The third component within the Stepping Stones program is social interactions and social relationships. During this time, children are learning how to communicate effectively with each other. They're learning how to problem solve. They are learning how to be curious together. They are teaching each other their new findings and their new learnings. They are also practicing their own self-regulation and to be resilient. They are learning to negotiate. They are learning to turn take, and they are learning how to make good friends. In our preschool classes, we use the early years foundation stages from the English National Curriculum. These are developmental milestones. During this time, we've brought in a new curriculum which is very much inquiry-based. From here, our children are learning about concepts, and then they're asking questions, and we follow the questions and the interests of the children, and we help them develop the skills of research, problem solving and questioning. An example of this is one of our projects we are doing for preschool is about light and shadows. The teacher had set up this beautiful provocation of a table that was turned upside down with a white sheet all the way around it with a lamp in the middle. The children were going to be exploring about the light and the shadows that it creates. Unfortunately, or fortunately for the children decided to turn this into a boat, and they had a fantastic time learning and sharing together and chatting about their ideas. However, the teacher knew that the concept they still wanted to inquire about was how light and shadow works. So she then enhanced the provocation by putting in some shadow hand puppets, which the children could then mimic and use the provocation set up for. This they did do. From here, the children started inquiring more and asking questions about, why is the shadow big? Why is it so small? How can I make it bigger? Wonder what would happen if I did this? Torches and other various lights were added to the provocation, and the children then started to experiment with the different shapes around the classroom, including their own bodies. This was then taken to an interest in butterflies and how they could use silhouettes of butterflies and transparent paper and make different shades and different lighting that happened. Through these provocations, and these concepts, the children are learning different academic skills as well. They are learning about sound. We still do our phonics program, and they're beginning to do some using their mark making to create stories or write down their information that they have found out. And this they then share with others. At the end of every project, we invite parents in to either share in the learning, or we send a video home or some learning home so that you can actually see what the children have done within this project. Our prep for primary is for children aged 5 years to 6 years old. We follow the English national curriculum. Again, we are still play-based inquiry. Our children are inquiring again on different concepts. For example, in our Montessori project, we are looking at the concept of space and what is out there. A lovely example of this, and the questions that the children do inquire after, is the teacher in the prep classroom set up a lovely invitation and provocation of a room that had kind of been visited by aliens. The children were quite fascinated when they walked into the room and had a number of questions that they wanted to ask. They then engaged in agent banks to try and find some of those answers to their questions. This is an ongoing project, and they have come up with many things like, how do I get to the moon? Can you breathe in space? What lives actually in space? Are aliens really real? And these are the questions coming from the children, and they are investigating. We integrate the skills of reading and writing and oral language throughout different projects throughout the year. For example, in the Learn Soon, the children have to write their questions. The children were reading to find out the answers, and then they had to do some great listening skills as they heard from agent banks. Also, they had to use their Flipgrid and other pieces of technology to be able to send the information to agent banks so that he could then process it. This is all done through collaboration and working with each other. Our prep for primary prepares our children for their future education as well. Our unaccompanied classes, our stepping stones, our preschool, and our prep for primary prepares our children, your children, for their future. Come join us on our Woodland journey. Thank you.